Yeah, it's there's a lot of teams. There's a lot of good teams right now that are sitting kind of where we're at. But I love it because that's where November shakes everything out. That's where you begin to get the big separation, and you'll begin to see it. Some will start dropping and some will continue to move up. And so, this is where you can really set yourself up. December is with November, because I think sometimes what happens, man, it's a long season, and man, if you don't continue to get better, you stay the same, you get passed up by some of these other teams, or man, you get a little tired, you get a little fatigued, the players, the coaches, and then it costs you a loss here or there, and you got to stay in it. You got to stay urgent. You got to stay focused on the details. You got to continue to put in the work, and you just can't brush anything off. You can't just throw it off to the side and say, we'll be okay. You got to look at everything. You got to clean up and correct everything, even after wins.
Just wanted a little clarification because there was some confusion on both challenges. The first one, I know they can look at anything once they go under the hood, but were you challenging the process of the catch on that one?
Yep.
And then with the second one, I guess there wasn't really clarity on what you were challenging.
Yeah, that was a bad challenge. That was just a total mess up on my part. That was me thinking that he was down at the fumble site, and that's more grasping for straws. I shouldn't have done that. Yeah. So you were totally like, what the hell is he doing? You'd be correct.
The KC play and everything that kind of the fallout from that. Do you think in a long-term sense that what happened there, may have a positive effect in the sense that, they may take a closer look at these 50-50 calls, especially with you guys, and maybe, reset. Especially with that challenge, that double challenge, it seemed like at least they went through the process of kind of looking maybe further, whereas if that play didn't happen with the KC situation.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, I don't know if that is or not. I know that every game there's different angles, and it took a while to get the angle that they saw that proved that he did not get the marker, and normally it doesn't always go down that way. So I don't know. I'll take it. We'll take it and we'll move on. Obviously the defense, outstanding performance by those guys. Every one of those guys got a game ball. It was just, top to bottom across that whole roster, those guys just did a really good job, man. I thought we were aggressive, went after the football, had a number of balls on the ground. So that's, it's paying big dividends, man, working at takeaways in practice, and it's showing up on the field, and guys are taking pride in it, and they're trying to be the next one to get one out. So, just outstanding performance. Offensively did what we had to do. Things we're going to clean up and easily correctable will be corrected. We got good guys in that room, and they're prideful, and we'll be better. And, I just kind of mentioned last night, man, I thought our coverage units did a really good job on special teams. So that was good. It was, and we're 5-2 at the bye. And when we come back, man, we got to continue to improve. We got to evolve and improve. And we're in a race to improve, quite frankly, with everybody else, particularly those in our division.
What does the bye week look like? Once the players out of here Wednesday, what's the bye week like for you, the coaching staff, and what's the fine line of kind of going through the tape and evaluating the first 7 games, but also maybe taking a step back, giving guys a chance to get away from it for a minute? What does that schedule look like for you guys?
Yeah, I'm cutting the staff loose tonight, and but I gave them some things that I want to see work at their leisure when they get back. I want just a couple of answers on a few things that I wanted them to look out for. But I think it's important that they get away. I do, man. This will be the last chance we get a little bit of time to, no different than the players. There's things I'm going to do. I'm going to continue to work through. I'll do some things at home. But some of that, the work's never done. So we keep going, and where can we improve and get a little bit better in areas and set our players up in certain areas to have a little more success, across the board. So that'll be the bye.
Bye week is 1 day shorter than it usually is. Does that matter? Does that impact anything?
Say it again.
Bye week is 1 day shorter than typical, just coming off a Monday.
I think it just makes it hard to do anything, because by the time you get some of these guys recovered, even if you want to gain some reps with the young guys, a lot of them, to really be able to go out and practice, you still need a couple of days to recover. And by the time you do that, it's kind of not worth it. I'd rather give them off and let them refresh, I think I think it's important,
When you were constructing your depth chart for this game, you had a couple of veteran corners and Trey Flowers and Fuller that you brought in. What was about Whiteside, what you saw in practice, maybe even going back to what you saw in camp, that you thought he was ready for this opportunity?
Well, he'd been here and been in the system. That was a big part of it, is he understood our terminology, what we were looking at, how we were going to play certain leverages per the call. He'd been around FIP, the special teams, things of that nature, and so there was just more of a comfort level with a guy who's been here and really went through a whole training camp with us. We just felt like that was the right move. So it was good, man. You saw he stepped up, made plays for us, did some things on special teams too. So, man, I thought none of those guys blinked. Went in there and competed. From Hallett to Harper it was just, man, it was really good. It was impressive. And as a coach, that's all you can ask for, is just go in there and compete, man. Give yourself a chance to make plays, and you're not alone. You got the other guys. They're going to help you. And they did that.
You said after the game it's not just the secondary, but that could have been the story had it gone sideways. Did you take a moment to step back as you looked at the film as you reviewed last night to just see how impressed you were with those guys especially?
Yeah. They, like I say, they stepped up, but it took every one of those guys, and early in that game, there was a lot of disruption in our front, and I think that kind of started it off. That kick-started everything for us defensively. Aleem McNeil, Hutch, Muhammad, man, there was Barnes. There was a lot of disruption going on, and then, man, we were sticky in coverage. And so the two, as you know, the rush and coverage go hand in hand. They play off of each other, and it really gave our guys a lot of confidence.
Aleem played quite a bit there in that debut, 44 snaps, I think. How did the plan develop, maybe when going into the game, and conversations maybe during the game where you decided to lean on him a little bit more than you planned?
Yeah, it was a little more than we wanted to give him for his first time out. We were shooting for a little less than that just to be smart with him, but he was handling them well. It was going to be more of, passing downs originally, and then he got worked in there on a couple of these base reps, but really we ended up, we had him in some second and long. There was a lot of third downs in there, and we wanted him part of all that. So it got up there in the 40 range, but I thought he handled it well, and man, got out of it good. He's got the bye, and he'll come back now in a little bit better shape, football shape. That's the only way to duplicate it, is to actually go through it. So I think this will be good for him.
The next man up thing a lot. Obviously, it was something you guys had to do a lot last year. I'm curious, even though this is the vision that you built this team in, have you seen compounding returns on maybe guys being ready in situations like that? Like, do you think that guys are more well-equipped this year because your team had to do it last year, even though a lot of turnover and stuff like that? Or
Well, I think we've always and I go back to this, man, after the 21, man, we got hit on a bunch of stuff in 21, and I remember telling the staff, man, we'll never have another season where our guys aren't prepared to play. The next guys up, man, those guys have to be ready to play. And so we try to get them reps in practice. They're doing our stuff. Man, if you're here, whether you're on the vet squad, practice squad, you're a reserve on the roster, man, you are literally the next man up. And those reps are valuable. We look at those reps. We look at your practice reps. Even if it's from a card, we look at them and we teach off of that. We want you doing our technique, unless it's somebody that we're playing is a little different. And, hey, we need this look. But so we coach them like they are the next man up. We don't coach them like, well, you're not going to play. No, you literally are one play away. And I think people have figured this out. I hope they have by now. It's like, man, trust goes a long way here. And if you're somebody that you show up every day, man, and you're reliable, you're dependable, we know you're going to do the right thing, man, we'll take you to the game and we'll play you.
The offense, obviously the touches fluctuated from player to player, week to week. What are the challenges that go into trying to get everybody the ball, but also and do you feel like you can maximize the skill players even more than you have through this first 6 weeks?
Yeah, and I would say this. This is all we got to do is convert on a third down and then convert on another third down. We convert on a couple of these third downs. It either helps us for the next one or we may not be in very many. We're back first, second down, back to first. First, second down, back to first. And so, man, we get a little bit better in third down. We tweak a couple of things. We set a couple of different players up. I think it's going to go a long way for us. And so, obviously, the more first downs, the more plays, then the more opportunities for everybody that we have. And yes, we can do a better job, and we will.
What was the issue on third down yesterday? Was there anything?
It was literally one thing here, one thing there. One guy here, one guy there, and it was, you got 10 guys doing the right thing, and one guy either gets beat or he's doing the wrong thing. And it really just we just kind of passed it around a little bit. And that it's all of us, literally. Man, I'm talking about myself, the coaches, all of us. But there again, it's correctable. It's easily correctable. That's what a little bit of this bio will be too, man. And looking at some of these things, what are things we do really well and we can hang our hat on, But yes,
How did Decker come out of yesterday? He was a little frustrated in the locker room, but maybe it's what you said a couple weeks ago where you're still giving us a winning performance, even if it's not exactly what you want.
Yeah, I think, look, man, he's a perfectionist, He's a prideful guy, and he wants to know he can play his best kind of football. And, it can get frustrating when you're not 100%, And so I understand what that is. But and like I tell him, man, you help us though, you elevate us, and I just appreciate the fact he's out there trying to get it done, and hopefully we can get it to calm down. And good news is, I think there's still some strength in it, but the guy's a stud, man. He is.
Hold up for the rest of the season? I mean, are you worried that it won't, or kind of what's
that? Yeah, man, I hope so. I hope so. I know he'll do everything he can to make it right and to be able to play.